Welcome to the virtual opening of imPosible, Zona Maco 2021. I am super excited to have everybody here and very nervous as well. I have done a million of these things, but today I'm particularly nervous because it's just been a year of great challenges for all of our artists and for the community in general. And I think that what this show represents for us is a turning point, but also it's kind of a celebration of the resilience of all the art community to stay connected to one another, to continue creating, and to find the energy and the spirit to make things happen during what I think will be we will look back on and say was one of the most incredible years, 2020. So the residency itself has been here for 2 years. Our first year, we started in an informal manner with international artists visiting and staying with us and doing drawing groups and comidas and pop-up exhibitions and different projects with artists. And then through time, we have evolved, and that when the pandemic started, we shut everything down and we're like, well, what are we going to be able to do? And most of the expat community within Mexico City seemed to disappear. And, you know, it was just one of those times where we were like, what will happen in the future? And we immediately went online last year at this time and started to do programming to bring the community together. And as we began this programming and began working with the different artists and things, I realized that there was a real need to connect during the pandemic, and that people were really suffering from the lack of connection and opportunity to show. So we began doing our Kiki events where we would come together and gossip and talk about things, invite visiting artists and do critiques for artists and groups and solo critiques, and visit galleries and talk to curators. And the program has just developed over the last year into this, you know, incredible project. We just finished our art lab project, which is a 10-week process where the artists get together once a week and we talk about where we are in the process of a proposed project. And then we support one another. We give critiques and we work with each other very closely. And at the end of the 10 weeks, then we have an exhibition. And that exhibition right now is currently being shown on Artsy as well. So you'll be able to go to Artsy and see that. You can see here on our website also that we have it linked directly to Artsy so that you could see all the shows. And currently, I know this is going to be stunning to you all, but we have 12 shows currently going right now from the Mexico City location. We are a partner gallery of Dab Art in Los Angeles, California. They have a location in Ventura, California, and are currently working on opening a location in Austin, Texas as well. So there's a lot happening. You can see here we have our show here currently, but also many of the artists attached, Alexandra, Edgar, Una, Nelson Morales, Adam David Bencomo, Ali Warren, Alfonso Zorate, and you can see here we have Zahavas Charisse, the imPosible show, and then also one of our artists in residence, Esther, as well. So there are a lot of shows attached to this that you can view exclusively online, and then see individual pieces within the show here in Mexico City. So, and it would be a miss for me to not tell you that on YouTube, you can find our channel. We have over 100 interviews and various different events with queer artists from all over the world who've been working with us for the last couple of years. And wow, I mean, they share their stories with us, they share their passion with us, and they share their process with us. And we're honored to have their participation always in any of the events. But you could see that there is a robust community. I want to be clear as well, because in some ways this is slightly controversial, and I hope that one day it won't be, that my definition of queer for our community is not just related to LGBTQ, but also to the allies that support the community, because I don't believe that the future of queer will exist if we don't make ourselves more inclusive and have more voices at the table, so that, you know, the history can be spread further and further out. I don't think isolation helps any of us at any time. So as I'm talking, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video in the background. This is a walkthrough of our show. We are in the heart of the Juarez and El Centro district. On this side of the street, it's Juarez. On the other side of the street, it is El Centro. The artisanal Ciudadela Mercado is very close to us, just a few blocks away. And we have several galleries. Karen Huber is on the other side of the street from us. And then there are several other projects and galleries happening throughout the Zona Maco event. So I hope that you will make a point of stopping through if you're in the area. But I'm going to call on some people, and as we're watching this video, just to talk about their artwork. And some of our artists are Spanish speaking only, and some of them are English speaking only, and some of us are bilingual. And we'll do our best to make sure that we all know what's happening here and everything. I'd like to start out by calling on Zahavas. Zahava, this is your sculpture that we're seeing here in the background, the large orange resin pieces. Could you just tell us briefly what your project is about and where you are and like what's going on right now?
Yeah, but first I want to thank you and thank everybody that's watching this. I have people from Argentina, from Israel, from the United States who have joined that I invited, and I'm so moved by that. So I have 3 pieces in the show. These are pieces, part of a larger project that I'm hoping to end by 2022. And this project is about my vision of humanity, really. So the pieces have no features, they have no skin color that can be connected to human skin color. They have no gender, and they can be in any spot in the sexual spectrum. It doesn't matter, because really what this is about is the light within and the energy that connects us. So from that point, from that belief, for me, it's a truth. We are all connected and we're all equal. So this is what my pieces are all about. They are made out of resin, mixed media, pigments, and some of them have drawings, like the large piece. These 2, which are the smaller pieces in the series, they are resin, pigments, mixed media, and light.
And I think it's really important, to point out too that definition of humanity is the definition that we share here at the residency, and it's one of the reasons when Zahava applied for exhibition in the residency that we really hit it off very well right from the beginning. And you've been with us since I think November or December so far, I think. Yes. Yeah. And this particular piece here is Alfonso Zarate. He is an artist that works here in Tepito, one of the barrios of Mexico City, probably most famously in many movies and various different things. It's always the place they show when they want to show crime in Mexico City. But it is not the primary characteristic of this area. It just happens to be a rather poor area and has a reputation. But Alfonso works with themes of religion and how it's translated through the communities of poor people in order to support their sanity in the world. But he also works with the drug addicts as well. So you can actually see an entire solo exhibition of his work in Artsy, where he has these beautiful mandalas that he has created, and they're created out of remnants of crack. So there's actual pieces of colored crack in there. There are pieces of pipes, and the addicts will blow smoke through the pipes to help create like this beautiful effect in the mandala, and they're quite gorgeous. We're looking for someone who can help us with export to the United States, because we would love to do a show with them in Los Angeles, but we're terrified to ship crack across the border. So anybody wants to help with that, we'd be thrilled to have your help. And this particular piece is a life-size Jesus Christ, as you can see here. And it's quite stunning to see in person. You really don't get a sense of the scale in the video, but it's quite large. And the moment that I saw it on Instagram, I contacted Alfonso and I'm like, we have to have this. You know, we have these big, beautiful church windows, and you know, it felt like it was meant to be. And he's just an absolutely wonderful and generous artist to work with. The piece that you're seeing here, this is Esther. She's working with augmented reality. So you can download the app and scan the code on the bottom hand right side. And what we're witnessing is she prints on ice and with sand, and then she documents the deterioration of those pieces, working with the nature of life as being ephemeral. So they're very, very beautiful pieces. These are pieces from my own studio, the Queer Alchemist. I work with the advertisement papers that are layered in the streets, and I turn them into sculptural paintings. And this is from the Semana series. My work is all about transmutation and transfiguration, about taking negative and turning it into positive things. So what a year it has been, and a lot of the work that you see in that room was produced during the pandemic. So quite an appropriate theme for the pandemic, unintentional, of course. And there you could see all the paper that I've taken from the streets, because obviously during the pandemia for the last year, there's been no cultural events. So I've had no source material to work with. So that entire loft was filled with paper at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm down to what I have there, and the paper is just starting to reappear in the streets right now. It's the theme of working with my own transmutation and transfiguration has been a huge influence on the residency and my desire to create this community where we can all come together and transform the circumstances together. So very, very exciting time as well. Let's see what's going to happen here next. Oh, yes. Okay, yes. And I have a mural right now down the street from the gallery. This is at 55 Lucerna, 55 Lucerna, next to Commodore Lucerna. Here we could see Edgar Takoyaki, who works with the theme of Chicano culture represented in Tokyo. And we have Hannah, one of our artists in residence here. Hannah, are you on the call right now? Can't tell if she's here. I don't think she's on the call. Hannah is actually, she is an artist in residence, but she is also our curator in residence, and she will be producing a show about the trans experience. The work that she has here is called Face Shopping, and this is all about her experience as a trans woman and looking online to look for characteristics of faces and things to represent herself and as part of her transition. So if Hannah comes on later, we'll make sure to introduce her. Adam David Bencomo is a non-binary artist who works with body image issues, that he has an acceptance within the queer community, which is a highly body conscious community in itself. And he is not of the standard size, and he plays with the concepts of his body image and putting himself into situations which celebrate it and make it light and fun. So, and then next here, you also see we have a piece by Gina DeMello. Gina, I think I saw you in the chat. Would you like to comment a little bit on your piece?
I'm here, Michael. Yes, thank you. And I have family piping in from Pennsylvania, and I wanted to thank them for showing up today. My new series of work on paper for the residency is about cycles of panic and shock and complacency, and it's inspired by isolation and childhood and adult trauma. So repetition and revision are central to my process. So I do a lot of repetitive printmaking and image transfers and projecting, and I use fluorescent colors and holographic film to mimic the states of bipolar disorder and manic depression and the states of high and low manic depression. And I associate those with warm and cool colors. And I use feelings that give me, materials that give me feelings of being bold and loose and tight. In every composition, I focus attention on the calm or the chaos. So this one that you see here, it's very busy in the foreground and very isolated in the background.
Very wonderful. Gina, you've been a part of our residency for, I think, 4 or 5 months now. And you also, this piece of work was produced in our Art Lab project, which is the 10-week program that I was talking about. Could you just briefly tell us what the experience of Art Lab was like for you?
Yes, I started making these collages before the Art Lab, and I needed a little bit of a different direction for myself to kind of lighten the mood a bit. So taking my art process and figuring out what to do with it was really great for this Art Lab, because it forced me to work digitally and work with printing my source material and using that as the collage material. So I researched wallpaper patterns and cycles of panic and depression, and I merged those two ideas together.
That's wonderful. I've really enjoyed having you as a part of the Art Lab project and the process, and just watching the way that your work develops. Here we're seeing the work of Fabian Charisse and Veronica. I believe that you're in the room, Veronica. Would you like to say a few words in English or Spanish about the piece and the themes that are represented within your work here?
Okay, this painting is from 2016, and it is related with trans-iconography between Latin American diasporas, and it's about a relationship between symbolical borders in different countries and cultural contexts, where you can find some like a religious image that it's like a mirror between one place and another, having this relation with affections and the own story that it comes with this kind of very particular religious iconography that you can find like in South America, the Caribbean, Mexico, and the United States. And this very particular image, it's very related with the religious context from Cuba, that recently, like in the most recent years, like even more than 50 years, like in this cultural exchange that Cuba has with Mexico and different countries. I wanted to talk about that very particular relation with the reception of these images in different countries. And I like to explore like the story behind this iconography, like in different religious icons that come with the influence of post-colonial Catholicism in different countries. For this time, I decided to explore Caridad del Cobre Virgen, that it has a different context in Mexico and in the USA and in Cuba, and all of them, they are related with immigration and popular religion, and even their use as a ritual dispositive for cult images, and it's related with a very particular syncretism with Afro-descendant religions. And I think it's a very interesting merging of multicultural contexts, because it has a very unique opportunity to give dialogue between history, very particular narratives related with the multicultural places too, that happens like in borders, and the renewal from these particular cult images that come in a contemporary context. Like sometimes the artists have the time to make or produce their own statement with the particular story of these images in their own words and images and the reception with people.
And Veronica, tienes otra exposición ahorita en la Ciudad de México ahorita, ¿sí?
Sí, justo en es un espacio que está en el centro, en Dolores 54. Igual si pueden revisar sus redes sociales, pues están invitados.
Okay, gracias, amiga.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll continue moving through the exhibition here, and we'll see a lot of different other artists. And I would like to highlight it right now. Ali, are you with us right now?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, how you doing, Ali?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hey, so right now you're in Lake Tahoe, California, correct?
Well, I'm actually technically not. I'm in Arizona right now.
Okay, you're traveling around. Okay, good.
Yep.
Wonderful. Ali, you recently participated in our Art Lab project as well, the 10-week program that we just completed, and we'll restart again in a couple of weeks. Can you comment on the experience of producing your work through the Art Lab project? I'm going to go backwards here in the video so that we could see your piece.
Yeah, it was a great experience connecting with all these amazing artists and having a weekly meeting where we can all kind of hold each other accountable and ask for advice and get feedback about our work and express and share the challenges of, staying motivated and getting the hours in. And it was a great forum for staying on track and valuing your time as an artist. So yeah, I feel very grateful to be a part of it, and I'm so excited that we're having another one. And I felt like last time one of the things I got the most out of was the actual proposal part, and this time it's been great creating the proposal again, but this time I kind of knew what I needed to do, and so it took me like a quarter of the time to create my proposal for this next project, and that was a relief. And I felt like I still got a lot out of it about kind of describing the direction that I wanted to go in and creating that commitment. So,
well, I highly encourage you all to look at her work. She also has a solo exhibition right now with us called The Nature of Life, which is on Artsy as well. And I mean, when you look at these just digitally, they're absolutely gorgeous, but to have the experience of standing in front of one of the pieces is absolutely amazing. And we're honored to have you as a part of the exhibition. I also noticed that we have Dab Art with us as well. Jessica, can you unmute yourself? I'd love you to talk a little bit about what Dab Art is doing right now, and all your plans and our partnership as well.
Hello, Michael. Hello, everyone. I wanted to say before I get into anything to do up here, this is so impressive. It was something I've seen Michael sweat and I'm not going to say cry, but worry over.
There was some crying as well. So
some tears, some little tears here and there. No, I clearly having the disconnect of the distance is something that I know the work that goes into it, having done it myself, but seeing it all come to fruition is just so impressive. So congratulations, such a wonderful, wonderful show. And also just getting the entire week together, putting everything together, not just the show itself, not just Art Lab, but all the coordination and everything. I just want to say good job. And I am very impressed. As far as the show itself, that you're really featuring for Zona Maco. I will say that just as usual, there was some amazing work in here. The artists never seem, to let me down. I'm always excited to see what is happening. Some of my favorites, Nelson Morales, obviously, Edgar Takoyaki. I was able to get Janet Milholm in their beautiful work. I want to say there was a couple surprises for me. One of them was Ali Warren's work. I honestly did not expect to see anything figurative that it came out of left field for me a little bit. The exaggerated faces, the tonal qualities of the work, every single one of those pieces specifically to her solo show was so impressive and a very, very nice surprise for me. Also, Veronica's work, that piece, I know that Michael and I have talked about her work in the past. It's gotten such good traffic, but Veronica, that piece specifically, the layers that you have in that work, the composition and the people, the figures in the boat underneath, the religious figures, that to me was one of the major highlights for the show. I could stare at that piece for hours, and I will be very surprised if that is still sitting with us at the end of the show. It's such a good piece. So Veronica, tan buena, it was amazing. So moving on quickly, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but the collaboration with Dabart and Michael, all the work you've put into your gallery down there, I feel like we've been coming up about a year now, if not just past a year, working together. I feel like it's getting stronger and better each and every, month or every project. We're happy to have you as a part of Dabart. You're our satellite space down there, and I know that there's plans to hopefully collaborate and get a more prominent space, something that we can host even bigger shows when I come and visit in the fall. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. Dabart itself, we're growing, we're getting ready to do our Art in the Time of Corona project, which is the multi-city show. You'll be having a portion of that there. There'll be pieces in LA, there'll be pieces in Ventura. Something else that is growing is we're looking to open our location in Austin. I'll be going back in June to hopefully get that 100% dialed in. And we're just growing. We're being able to show more artists than anything. I mean, we exhibited, I think, close to 800 artists last year in 2020. That's huge. And sales for those artists have been wonderful too. I mean, people were able to exhibit and sell the work that we have, on exhibit, whether it be online or in the gallery. So we're getting ready to put out. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know this just sounds like a major love fest between the two of us and everything, but also, I mean, this is really, the project is about amplifying the voices in the queer community that aren't going to be seen necessarily within the mainstream.
Right.
And you've been so open to the sort of diversity and the variations within those voices and everything too. And it's just been super helpful to have a platform like Artsy to amplify those voices, particularly during the pandemia when everything was closed. And right. I mean, that didn't stop us. I mean, we did produce like Soledad, we produced actually in the streets of Mexico City. We created the show, and then we published a Google map with the show, and people could walk around Colonia Juarez and experience, an art exhibition during a time when the entire city of Mexico City was closed and nothing right. was available, and still in many ways is not necessarily available. So this is a very unique time right now. So.
I mean, honestly, you've really opened up that option for, I don't want to say option, you've opened up that door for a lot of people. We've shown a lot of artists, but I've let you really like take the wheel. Whatever you want to show is fine with me. I trust the artists that you are selecting, but I'm also eager to see things that would normally not come across, you know, my desk or my my computer. So I think that, you know, the more people that we have involved, the more different perspectives that we're able to bring. And like you said, like bringing attention to people that would normally maybe not be able to be given that opportunity has done wonders. I mean, not only for the platform, for the galleries, but for the artists themselves. So it's exciting to see and continuing to see that growth. And it's something that makes me happy as a person, but also as a business owner and as a, you know, as a gallery. So art is one of those things that it really shouldn't matter the background, you know, it should be open to all. And I think that we've accomplished that over, you know, over the last year of our collaboration.
And I know that we're going to continue growing and creating opportunities. And I want to highlight for the artists that are in attendance here how important this collaboration has been for the project to progress. It took, 1 year prior, we were moving quite slowly and methodically, and then with this opportunity, you've been very patient with me because we've continued to expand our shows, and like right now there are currently 12 shows related to Zona Maco.
Right.
So I'm very grateful to you for your patience and your resilience and helping us get all these shows activated and up, and just talking to the artists about the opportunities of seeing their work out there like this has just been enormously helpful.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a fan of art. I'm a fan of artists. So I love what I see. Everything on here was, I mean, it's a really impeccable show. It's probably one of the best put together that I've seen come out of your space. Not that the others weren't great, but this just seems to be the culmination of all the work, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the important thing is that what I do is about relationships with the artists. So it's taken the last 2 years to accumulate up to this work. It doesn't diminish the shows that were before it. It's just the relationships have become stronger. And I enjoy and am honored by the trust that the artists place in the gallery and myself to present their work as well. So I'm always looking for a more, I want to say, ethical or balanced relationship with the artist than some of the experiences that I might have had in the past in my career as an artist as well. So I'd like to highlight right now, because we have Anna currently online with us. Anna, can you briefly, in just a minute or so, tell us about the 3 pieces that you have here in our show?
Yes, Michael. Thank you everybody for being here. These 3 pieces are based on sound memories. It's my inspiration, sound, and the memories are the veils. Well, it's called veils because these memories all come in the background, and sometimes we really have to push ourselves to see those memories and see how they are affecting us in our present. So this is why you seem to see little translucid paper on the work, and they're all natural papers made by hand from cotton, linen, rice, and oh yes, this is.
And Anna is a part of our residency as well. She's actually in Mexico City. I've had the pleasure of going to a printmaking studio with her locally that she works with. She's extremely generous with her time and support of the community. And I want to make sure that I publicly thank you for coming. And she's been showing up the last couple of weeks to help us do everything from painting walls and hanging tags and giving me hugs when I break down and cry, and celebrating with me and making sure that we have food. So you've been a real amazing support for us. I want to go and talk also about the work of Una Nelson, who is joining us, who happens to be in Mexico. She was just in Mexico City this last week. Well, she just left, and now you're in San Miguel de Allende. And I'm working my way towards your solo show, Una. Can you tell us about the work that you're doing briefly, and and your experiences.
This work was made, you know, in 2021, the series, and 2020, and it's sort of in isolation. It's kind of my musing on sort of the party's over, although I did get to attend the gallery opening, and that was quite a party and really fun to meet all the other artists and see the other artists. So it's sort of a little macabre, and the title of the series is No More Dreams. And I work a lot with animals. Most of them are live, and with handlers and printing, and then posing in my studio or sometimes in other locations. But yeah.
Thank you. We're getting a lot of wind in the background from
oh, sorry.
But I appreciate your work, and it was so fun to have you here. I want to say also that there's a small group of the artists who've traveled from the United States to be here for the show, and it was just so exciting to have you in the actual space after so many months of only seeing you two-dimensionally, like in Zoom. So often that I actually needed to like sort of pinch myself to, you know, I was like, is this actually really happening? Are we all actually here? Do you exist? Like, so it's wonderful to actually meet you in person, to see you in front of your artwork, and to get to know you better in the world of reality as well. Guillermo, I know that tú estás aquí con todos y puedes hablar un poco en el tema a tu trabajo aquí en el
Hola, hello to everyone. Yes, I always like the theme about ghosts and phantoms, but it wasn't until last year that I really started working with that. With the pandemic, I started to think about myself, my identity, my relationship with me and myself, and with the others, and also with the spaces we are in. Because for the morning to the night, my body was useless, because with a computer, I can work, exist, and travel, and do everything. So I started to feel like a ghost. And at first was scary, but now I like it. And something beautiful about the ghosts are that they have no gender, no age, no race. When we think about a ghost, we think about that white bubble or sheet, but we don't think anything more. So that's why I stick with that theme. And these are portraits and self-portraits that I work with copper wire to banish the person and show something else, something that is within, something that connects, and something that can be scary, but also beautiful, like queer community.
Gracias, Guillermo. And I just want to say, I didn't know that you spoke any English, so.
More or less, but I think that most everything are speaking in English. So I wanted to everyone know about my work a little bit.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. And I want to also, I see that Robert Roush is here. Robert, I'm going to pull up your piece, and I would love you to talk about the work that you're presenting and the significance of the piece, but also if you could comment on the process of creating it. We do have an interview with Robert on our YouTube channel, and I highly recommend going to watch this. There are many surprises, and well, that did not go where it was supposed to go at all. And bless technology, it always works for us. Robert, go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'd like to hear more about your piece here, The Emperor's New Clothes.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks. And I'm super excited about being in the residency program in the next 10 weeks. I'm really excited about that. This piece was about, it's about The Emperor's New Clothes, which is a children's story. I like children's story, but also it has an adult theme too, about deceit. and things that are important to me in my life that I'm dealing with. But I make everything in the image. I spend a lot of time thinking about and doing sketches. But for this image, I wanted it to be clothed from head to toe. But the story is about being exposed. So I made these clothes that were sheer and you could see through. So I'm totally exposed, but I'm totally covered at the same time, which I feel like goes along with the story. But they do take me a long time. Like the curtains, I sewed the curtains, all that's paint, hand cut out, and stenciled. Anyway, yeah, I just make everything in the image.
I think the process that you go through to create these images is fascinating. I think it's also interesting in the context that you live in a small community within the Seventh-day Adventist community in northern Alabama, and so this work would not necessarily be viewable within your own community locally. So it takes a lot of courage for you to create these images and put them out there as well. And the response has just been wonderful to your work, and I'm super excited to have you participating in the next Art Lab project, and the theme that you're going to be working with is very interesting. So I appreciate you and your participation within the residency a lot.
Thank you. I really appreciate it as well. Yeah, because this image I just made for myself. I never planned to show it to anybody. And then I sent it to y'all because I thought y'all were far enough away. Nobody in my community would see it. So anyway.
Oh, well, but the weird thing was is at the opening on Saturday, we had a delegation from Alabama. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. They're like, oh my, how did you know Robert? And I'm like, oh, he applied to the show. So we are about ready to finish. We do have a VIP group coming from Zona Maco in the next few minutes, and I want to be able to welcome them. So I apologize that I'll have to cut this a little bit short. The variety of the work in the show is insane. This particular artist, Stephen Baboon, is a Syrian-born Haitian refugee living in New York City, and he is exposing queer figures in history from Haiti. His work is very dramatic and intensely emotional. He performs it in Creole, and you can see his video is actually in our library, as well as many other different videos and interviews with our various artists. This is Felix Deon. There's a wonderful interview with him in our YouTube channel in his studio in San Rafael, Colonia San Rafael here in Mexico City, in this beautiful Portfolio home that is his studio. And so there's just a rich amount of content in there, and I would encourage you all to subscribe to that. You can go to our Instagram and follow us here in Instagram. We've been very active with the live Instagram and stories and everything because there's just so much happening, and this week is just going to be a really exciting week for us. We're open today from 1 o'clock until 8 p.m. all the way through Sunday. On Friday evening, we have a VIP collectors event sponsored by Tequila 1800. So we'll have some tequila and a lot of the artists will be here. Alfonso Zarate, Fabian Charisse, Felix Deon, Ana Lopez, Alexandra, and I can't say her last name. I'm going to mess it up. But we have a great event on Friday night from 6 to 10. If you would like an invitation, please contact me directly for that. We're open through Sunday. The show itself will be here in the gallery through June 5th and online, I believe, until June 24th as well as all the solo shows attached to it and everything. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and we will see you again. And please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to sharing more and more of the queer and queer allied community, please contact me if you have any questions and want to participate. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It's so wonderful to see all your faces out there. And congratulations to all of you. You are all superstars. Like, the response to the show has been phenomenal. We are stacked with reservations and collectors coming through, and magazines and everything. So I'm very excited for the attention that our community is getting, and honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.